All right, I'm going to do the GM salary because this is an interesting one. All right, the GM salary, let's look over here, and we've got it over here. It's $90,000. So we can do one of two things. We can say this is the GM salary for a year, and we need it monthly. So you can either go right here and go 90,000 divided by 12 months, which is fine. That gives you 7,500. Or you could go up here and add a thing and say, I'm going to copy this and paste it down just to keep my formatting. And I could say months in a year, and that would be 12. Now, the reason why this is kind of dumb is because months in the year is always 12. Um, although you could do a report where you only want 6 months and you could divide it that way. But so either way is fine. You can either do the 7,500, but some way you got to make this 90,000 into a monthly amount. So I'm going to say this is equal to this, which is fine. Okay, that's an easy way to do it. I just took GM salary and just pointed it over here to my new GM salary of a month of GM salary. Now, I could also do this where I go equals GM salary divided by the months of the year right there. And that gives me the same 7,500. Okay, so you should be able to do general staff. General staff is going to be, it's actually a POR. So you're going to get your occupied rooms, and then you're going to need on your general staff, remember, you're going to need how much you pay them per hour and the amount of time it takes the general staff. And that's about 0.7. So this number over here is going to be like this, where you're going to pay them, and then you're going to put 0.7 right here as the time it takes for the staff to deal with all of the guests that are in the hotel. So if there's not a lot of guests, you don't have to have a lot of background staff. But if you do have a lot of guests, you need a lot of background staff, and that's why you do it per occupied room. I hope that makes sense. All right. So you should figure out what you're going to pay the general staff. So take a stab at that one. All right. Food sales is an interesting one. So let's make sure we have food sales over here. Okay, we're going to go to our information. All right. Food sales should be called dinner revenue. So that's one thing that I need to change. This should be called dinner revenue because food sales is a tricky word. So it's not really sales, it's revenue. Okay, so I just screwed up on that. So dinner revenue is going to be this number over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to say the average plate at our restaurant, so it's kind of an upscale restaurant, is $35. Now this does not include wine, but it does include or cocktails. This just is how much it costs for food and if they want like pop or soda. So that does go under dinner. So it's $35 is my average cost for food. And I think that out of the people that can come to my hotel, I think I can get 30% to eat in the restaurant. So I believe I can get 30% at dinner, at least one meal a day to eat in the restaurant. Now, if I do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you would maybe say I can get 30% of the people to eat all three meals, then that would be 100% of the people. So I don't want to confuse you. In my restaurant, we just do dinner. I think I can get 30%, so 0.3, to come and eat at my eat at my restaurant. So that's 30%. 0.3 is 30%. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and get a POR calculation. So I'm going to get the number of people, or the number of people in the rooms. So I'm going to go number of rooms times the day of the month, right? Times my occupancy, right? So that's my number of rooms I can sell. Now, some of you might be going, well, what if they have 2 people or 3 people in the room? We don't keep great statistics on that. So most of our calculation is based on how many we think will sell, and we'll have to adjust that number, that 30%, if we're selling to a lot of people. That say we sell a lot of rooms to couples, then that number of 30% might go a little higher, like 40 or 50%. Whereas if you're like a hotel that is for single or for people traveling for work, they're going to be one person, and only one person will be eating at the restaurant. So just kind of think through that. So here we go. The food and beverage is going to be, we're going to make $35 for every plate, and we're going to do 30% of the people are going to stay or come and eat at my restaurant. So I'm going to make $33,000 in my restaurant. Now, beverage sales, I want you to do yourself. It's going to be a calculation very similar to this dinner reservation. So I'm going to jump over here and fix a couple of things first. One is it should be called beverage revenue. So this should be called beverage revenue. That was my bad. So revenue. All right. Cost of food and cost of beverage. So cost of beverage is a percentage of the food we sell. I mean the beverage we sell. So I'm going to do the cost of food. Cost of food over here, or it's called cost of goods. Again, I'm screwing up with my names, but this should be cost of goods. Okay. This is going to be about, it's going to be about 20% at my restaurant, 0.2 of the total revenue that comes in from food. Okay. Now, what you'll do is you'll learn that as you can make your restaurant more efficient, like maybe you can buy cheaper food, but if you're a really high class restaurant, this might be a lot higher. Like if you're having to fly in lobster and things like that, and you're only selling it for $35, then this percentage is going to be really high because it's going to cost you $30 to bring in lobster and you're only selling it for $35. But I'm making a good profit on mine. I'm making 80% profit on my food. So that's 20%. So what I would do is I would take and go equals, and I would go my dinner times what I think I can sell that for, 20%, or what it's going to cost me to get all the food in for all those plates. So it's going to cost me $6,000 to create the food, just in food. It's not including the cook, it's not including anything else, just the food costs are going to cost $6,000. All right, you should now be able to do cost of beverage. You should be able to do the beverage revenue. You should be able to do the cook and the servers and the F&B manager. F&B manager is a salary position. So again, remember to divide it by 12. All right, try to get that far, and we'll do the rest in class tomorrow, and we'll work through it.